Basketful of Moonlight. This is chit chat activity. I will ask you a question and you have to answer it. Question number 1. Did you like to hear bedtime stories when you were a child?
Yes, of course.
Who usually told you the bedtime stories?
My grandma.
Why did you like them?
I liked them because they are so extraordinary and so mysterious.
Did you still like to hear those stories again?
Yes, definitely.
Discuss in groups about the procedure of planting a tree. Write the steps in bullet points and present it before the class.
We have discussed in a group, and here are the bullet points of the discussion. Digging a trench, mixing manure in the soil of the trench, putting the sapling properly, watering it after giving support of soil.
Now discuss in pairs and write what your father and mother do for your family.
Father. My father works hard to earn a living. He pays my fees. He fulfills my basic needs. He takes care of my family. He makes provision for my future. He keeps us happy. Mother. My mother gets up early every day. She keeps the house clean. She prepares meal. She washes the clothes. She serves the children and elderly persons. She takes care of everyone.
Now friends, be attentive. Page number 18. Basketful of Moonlight. O moon, give me moonlight. Basketful or 2 baskets full with seeds of moonlight. From the city to my village, on the sides of the path, I want to sow many small moons of light. The whole village goes to the city daily to work. It becomes dark on its way back as my village is quite far. The route is tough and full of snakes and scorpions. Neither bus nor cart plies. When my father returns home, I am asleep, and he goes back early in the morning when I am sleeping. O moon, give me a basket full of moonlight on loan. I want to light the dark route so that my father returns early. I too want to hear fairy tales and stories from him. O moon, give me a basket full of moonlight. I want to sow seeds of moon on the sides of the path. This poem originally has been composed by Sunil Sharma and translated from Dogri. Now, friends, you have listened to the poem. Let us think about margin line questions to understand the poem better. First margin line question is: what does the poet wish to get from his moon and why? The poet wishes to get basketful or 2 baskets full with the seeds of moonlight to light the road from city to his village. To remove the darkness, it will help his father and other villagers to reach home every night earlier and safely, as the road is occupied with snakes and scorpions. It is very tough road. Next margin line question: why is the road from the city to village dangerous? The road from the city to village is dangerous as it is occupied with snakes and scorpions, and it has no any facility of light in the dark night. It is tough and its condition is worst. How do you spend your evening time with your family members?
After returning home, I spend my evening time with my family. we have some evening chats, and I share my school activities with my parents.
Very good. The title of the poem is Basketful of Moonlight. The poem is written by Sunil Sharma and translated from Dogri. The poem is in free verse as it has no rhyme scheme. This poem is an urge or a request of a child to the moon. He requests the moon to give him a basketful or two baskets full with seeds of moonlight. With the help of those seeds of moonlight, he will be able to light the path from the city to his village, and his parent, means his father, will reach home safely and earlier, and he will be able to listen to the bedtime stories told by his father. His concern about his father's hardships and safety has been reflected through the poem. The child is very sensitive and has raised the hardships and dangers in the life of villagers along with his father. The village in the poem is an example which represents hundreds of villages in the country where there is no electricity, no good roads, no water and schools. The poet has used effective imageries which strike the reader the pathos and hardships of the villagers. Friends, as I told you, the very first line is an example of apostrophe because the child directly talks to the moon. O moon, give me moonlight, basketful or two baskets full with seeds of moonlight. So you can consider this is an apostrophe, an example of apostrophe. O moon, give me moonlight. The third and fourth line, especially the third line of the first stanza, basketful or two baskets full. So, basketful, the initial sound is B, and again baskets, initial sound B. So, sound B is repeated twice. It is an example of alliteration. Stanza number 2, line number 4, small, small moons of light. This is an example of repetition. Then stanza number 3, line number 4 and 5, the root is tough and full of snakes and scorpions. Sound so is repeated twice in snakes and scorpions. It is an example of alliteration. Immediate next line again, neither bus nor cart plies. So sound n in neither and nor is repeated, another example of alliteration. One more line in the second last stanza of the poem, I want to light the dark route. So here opposite ideas are put together, light and dark. So this is an example of antithesis. The same stanza, second last stanza, the last two lines, I too want to hear fairy tales and stories from him. So tales, in fairy tales, tale means story. So this is needless repetition, we call it tautology. This is a figure of speech. When there is needless repetition, we call it tautology, and tautology is a figure of speech. And one more example of alliteration in the last line, last stanza, second last line, I want to sow seeds of moon. So sound so in sow and seeds is repeated, sound so is repeated. So this is an example of alliteration. The speaker or the narrator in this poem is a child who is extremely anxious or worried about the delay of his father's arrival every night from the city nearby. As his father goes to the city every day in the morning, the distance is too much from village to the city and the road is not so good. It is tough. The condition of the road is worst and there is no any facility of light. When his father, the child's father, and other villagers of his village return from the city to their village, they face many dangers because the road is occupied with snakes and scorpions and there is no light. This poem shows the worst condition of Indian villages. This poem also draws our attention towards inequality in Indian social scenario. On one side we see the urbanization is taking place. The cities are growing rapidly. There are many more facilities in cities. But what about the villages? The basic amenities are not properly provided to the villages, especially in the remote part, in the inaccessible regions. The condition of the villages is very bad and the people are deprived of the basic necessities like drinking water, good condition of roads, power supply. After 72 years of independence, our countrymen, our brothers and sisters, as we say in pledge every day, they are longing for the basic necessities as we have in the cities.